Family, what is up? I need y'all to check this upload out. We're going to review something. Oh my goodness, this dude is dropping gems. And everything he's talking about is a lot of what we speculate on his channel. Now, I'm not a part of his movement or anything. These are his views and opinions. I just thought they was interesting, and I got to say that for disclosure to the platform or whatever. But check this guy out, you guys. And yeah, shout out to DC Mister, Carrie Ferrier, Conceptual Elixirs. Thank you guys so much. Like, y'all don't know how much those donations help. That's the realest I can be. That's the realest I can say it. If you do want to look out, it's $ Trap House Kitchen 1. But let's get to the content. So this is X Ministries, you guys. One of the greatest channels I've found on this channel, on this platform. And I'm not too much in the church and things like that, but when he speaks of these things, you cannot help but gravitate toward the message. Now, I don't want to seem too preachy, and I don't want to take y'all to church on a Saturday or anything like that, but it's mandatory that we get this message out. So if you can like the video, you guys, if you could share this with people that you know that are aspiring artists or the young YNs that are just going crazy in the streets that want to, yeah, y'all get what I'm saying. Let's get to it. Once again, $ Trap House Kitchen 1. Let's go.
Remember, I showed y'all this, the old dirty bastard, and like he died the next day, dropped dead. But what I didn't tell y'all was that he had come out with a name for himself called Big Baby Jesus. He said that he was Jesus. And he died. See, that's how the devil does. See, the devil, and one thing you got to understand, the devil always demands a sacrifice. Just like God says, present your bodies unto him a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is a reasonable service. That's what Jesus did on the cross. He offered himself up one for us all. So now we offer ourselves up to God as a living sacrifice. We live holy and acceptable unto him, which is what reasonable service means, what you're supposed to do anyway. You know, we live right for 3 days. We're like, Lord, I live right for 3 days. You ought to bless me. God's like, you're supposed to do that. But the devil always demands a sacrifice. And if you know anything about the Antichrist and the devil, he always does the opposite of what God does. He's anti. Anti is opposite. Antichrist. Amen? Are y'all with me? So he demands a dead sacrifice. So anytime, if you look at satanic rituals and satanic circles and all these kinds of things, you notice that they always have to offer up a dead sacrifice. A lot of these secret societies and all of these different things, they always have to offer up dead sacrifice because the devil always demands one. So I'm telling you, these folks that do this music, whenever they begin to get glory or begin to be lifted up, they always have to be sacrificed.
It's something, y'all, that just rings so true in my opinion about what he's saying. But sacrifice. If we're going to give you these things, you got to give us something. Jennifer Hudson, Kanye, and yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that, but let's continue.
But he always demands a sacrifice. They always have to be offered up. That's Aaliyah, and she got into some things. Let's talk about this for a minute. See, one thing you got to realize is whenever you are serving the enemy, whenever you are glorifying the enemy or bringing attention to the enemy, he always demands a sacrifice. Now, we talked about the yada, the tongue, and how you can speak things into existence and prophesy on yourself. Y'all can't read these words, but I'm going to read them to you. Biggie Small, this is a song he put out right before he died. He said, as I grab the Glock, put it to your headpiece, one in the chamber, the safety's off release, straight to your dome homes, I want to see cabbage. Biggie Smalls the savage, doing your brain cells much damage. I'm ready to die, and nobody can save me. Blank the world, blank my moms and my girl. My life is played out like a Jerry curl. I'm ready to die. Tupac, right before he died, came out with this song. I see death around the corner. The pressure's getting to me. I no longer trust my homies. Them phonies tried to do me. Smoking too much weed got me paranoid, stressed. Pack a gat in my vest under my clothes when I dress. Here's hoping I die the way I live, straight thuggin', hugging my trigger for all them niggas that was bugging. And even if I die young, who cares? All I got was mean mugs and cold stares. I can't give up, although I'm hopeless. I think my mind's gone. All I can do is get my grind on. Death is around the corner. See, these brothers, right before they died, that's how serious this thing is. And one thing, I know a lot of, Christians like horror movies, and they like to watch demons and junk on TV and horror movies, but they don't understand there is an element to the horror movies of America that nobody wants to talk about, and that is every time a movie that depicts horror in this nation celebrates it, every time a movie like that is made, somebody directly starring in it or directly related to a star in it has to die. Research it. Every time.
All right, now, this is the part that made me really want to do the video. It wasn't the Biggie and Pac. It was the Aaliyah. And I told people so many times, like, dude, the Queen of the Damned was her last movie. She was damned. This dude took it to another level. Y'all, I'm going to shut up. Let's just play the clip. Oh, my, it's heartbreaking. Jesus, it's heartbreaking. Let's get it.
But we want to be entertained watching demons and monsters and this kind of stuff, and we don't understand that somebody had to die because the enemy was glorified. There was a sacrificial ceremony involved. This is Aaliyah. Sad situation, beautiful young girl. But they got her to play this part in this movie called Queen of the Damned. She played Akasha, who was supposed to be the head of all vampires. When she was working on this movie, she began to realize that she was just like Akasha. She says, I play Akasha, who is the queen and the first original vampire. She said, that's me. It's a good part. I've been working with my coach. I work with him all the time, and I've been working extra hard to prepare for this and get comfortable with what she's all about so I can do it the right way. Then she says, I'm a night person, so I guess you could say I kind of have the part in me anyway. I'm a bit of a vampire for real. I like the dark. I like the night. So I really don't have to take it to the extreme of sleeping in coffins. Sad. Sad. And then her plane went down, and they found her in, shrubberies. I think it went down in a swamp. She was covered in brush and snakes and whatever's in a swamp. And she had just shot, prior to that, a video where she was depicting herself in that same situation.
Yep. That's what he had to say about Aaliyah. And when you sit there and you think about it all, it makes so much sense. It really does. It makes the perfect sense. It makes a heartbreaking sense. Some of these people, they're like, I don't know, cultivated in the industry. But what is so bad for a person to just give up the ultimate? That's nuts. Now, this next part, you guys, we gotta make a change. Y'all remember those words? Michael Jackson's song, Man in the Mirror? OMG. The dualistic value of this track, y'all, is wild as I don't know what. Listen at what this man describes in Michael Jackson's home. Listen as he describes who the man in the mirror was, or the practices of the mirrors. The song creating not tactics, but the song creating process. And then listen to what he says about what was said in a dream, that if you don't do this, we're going to give it to Prince. And that's where a lot of their beef started from. The power of music. Hip hop. Hypocrisy.
I'm full of
Gotta
funky
hear this
fever. A fire burns inside me. Boogie got me in a super
Because I believe
trance.
this
Blame
is
it
what
on the
led to
boogie.
Michael Jackson's
Quincy Jones
death.
said that when he finished
Hope
this
they come
song, he
talk to
couldn't
me
stop
about it, 'cause
dancing.
I'll
He
give them
ran
some
out in the street
information
and he was dancing
Holy Ghost.
uncontrollably.
I don't need a forensic scientist.
Well, I'm not going.
Look at somebody and say, all you got to do is ask God.
There were
God
three
laid
ways
this out
Michael
to me as
Jackson
plain
would
as
get
day.
his songs.
The 3 ways Michael Jackson got his songs. The first way, Michael Jackson said, he told Martin Brashear on an interview that he would climb a tree called the Given Tree, tree of knowledge. Tree of knowledge. He'd climb this tree and he would get his songs. Second way, Aleister Crowley said in his book, 777, that he had a room of mirrors, and if you look into a mirror, you can look into yourself and you can channel the spirits of those that were before you. He's really saying that those that may have molested you or those that may have taken from you, you can bring them back and ask them to be your guide and tell you why they did what they did to you. So Michael Jackson created a mirror, a room of mirrors, that he could go in and channel spirits. And Michael Jackson chose a specific spirit. He says this, he says, I have my own secret room with a moving wall and mirrors, okay? Same room that Aleister Crowley had. He says, this is where I talk to Liberace. I hear his voice in there. I feel his presence so very close to me. He's like my guardian angel. He even gave me permission to record his title, I'll Be Seeing You. That's in the Psychic News in 1987. Liberace? Michael Jackson died. He said that his best songs came in dreams. Michael Jackson would channel Morpheus, the god of dreams, who studied under Serapis Bey. Serapis Bey is the image that Catholics use as the image of Christ, but it's not. He has the Ra, the sun god, behind his head. He looks just like Christ, but it's not. Just like Semiramis and Nimrod, that whole thing I told you about earlier. But he was an Egyptian incarnated God, so he would channel those spirits. He also channeled the spirits of Hypnos and Thanatos. Hypnos is the god of sleep. Thanatos is the god of death, and they're brothers along with Morpheus. Now, what becomes very dangerous about what Michael was doing, if you read, Michael Jackson would sleep sometimes 3 and 4 days at a time because he was trying to get hit songs. He even said one time that he couldn't go to sleep. He said a spirit told him that if he did not get to sleep to get this song, the spirit is going to give it to Prince. This is where the rivalry between him and Prince birthed in the 80s, if y'all remember that. But Michael needed to sleep. So they began to sedate him heavily so he could sleep the amount of time he needed to sleep to get hits. But a 50-year-old body trying to do a world tour, hungry for the next hit song, the right dosage. I know some people are saying, well, you haven't really convinced me. I'm about to. Michael Jackson had 2 albums that told everything that he was doing. The first album he had that I'm going to show you is his history album. He built a statue of himself like Nebuchadnezzar because that Nephilim spirit in him wanted to be worshipped. But if you zoom into his arm, there's a number on his arm. And that number is 777. Aleister Crowley's book, 777.
Shout out to X Ministries. I felt it was imperative to get you guys this message. And once again, I don't know. I wasn't trying to be too churchy with y'all, but this is the messenger. The message resonated with me, so I want to share it with you guys. I want to thank y'all for being here. yeah, dissect this music, y'all, because we're sitting thinking it's one thing when it's really the other, and the other thing is really some other stuff. $ Trap House Kitchen 1. If you made it, say I made it. The likes and comments help us get the message spread. So please, you guys, like, share, comment, subscribe. $ Trap House Kitchen 1. I'm out. Peace.